They thought I was deaf, blind, and losing my mind. But I heard every word of that conversation about how to divide up my house before I was even dead. If you could help me out by sharing this story, I'd really appreciate it. Sometimes we need to hear certain things before it's too late. My name is Harold Mitchell. Today I'm 72 years old, and I'm telling you this from my little room at Sunset Manor, 3 years after my children had me placed here. It's a story that happened to me that's still happening, and that might make you rethink some things about family. 3 years ago, I was still living in my house. That house I built from the ground up, where I raised Michael and Rebecca, where I lived 40 years with my Eleanor. She had passed away 2 years earlier, and I could still smell her coffee every morning. It was a Saturday. Saturday was always grocery day, and I was in the living room making my shopping list when I heard voices in the kitchen. Michael, my older son, who's 47, talking quietly with Rebecca, who's 43. "Dad's getting harder to handle," Michael was saying. "Just yesterday he left the burner on." I stopped writing. What burner? I didn't remember anything like that. "And that thing with the neighbor," Rebecca continued. "He accused Mr. Peterson of stealing the garden hose." That was true. Mr. Peterson had taken my hose and hadn't returned it, but the way my kids were talking, it sounded like I was making things up. "We need to make a decision soon," Michael insisted, "before he does something crazy with the money. What if he decides to get remarried? Or donates everything to the church," Rebecca added. "You see how he's gotten all religious since Mom passed." My heart started racing. They were talking about me like I was some problem child. "The facility I looked at is really nice," Michael said. "Full medical care, activities, all that. And we can get things sorted out here. The lake house is just sitting empty. The hardware store barely breaks even." I came downstairs slowly, making noise on the stairs on purpose. When I walked into the kitchen, they stopped talking immediately. "Morning, Dad. Sleep okay?" That fake, cheerful voice. The tone you use with someone who's sick. "I slept fine," I replied, looking both of them in the eye. "What were you two discussing?" "Oh, nothing important," Rebecca said quickly. "Just talking about some neighborhood stuff." A lie. And they knew I knew it was a lie. 2 weeks later, they came to me with their plan. "Dad, we've been talking with Dr. Williams," Michael started. "He thinks it might be good for you to spend some time somewhere with more support, just until you're feeling stronger." Dr. Williams was our family doctor. Good man who'd known us for years. "Stronger from what? I feel fine." "Dad, you've got high blood pressure, your knees bothering you, and since Mom passed—" "Don't talk about your mother that way," I cut him off. "Sorry, Dad, but that's just it. Dr. Williams says it would be good for you to have company, activities to do." Rebecca jumped in. "It's a really nice place, Dad. Sunset Manor. We toured it. Beautiful gardens, game rooms, people your own age." "How long?" "Well, that depends, Dad. On you, how you adjust." Vague answer. When your kids give you vague answers, it means they've already made up their minds. 3 days later, I was packing a suitcase. Rebecca picked out the clothes. "Not that old plaid shirt, Dad. It's seen better days. At the home you want to look presentable." "Presentable for who?" "For the other residents, the staff. You know." I packed the shirt anyway. It was Eleanor's favorite on me. Sunset Manor looked nice enough from the outside. Cream-colored building, well-kept gardens, tasteful sign by the entrance. Inside, it smelled like disinfectant mixed with cafeteria food. "Mr. Mitchell, welcome," said Mrs. Catherine, the administrator. "We're confident you'll be very comfortable here." My room was small. A bed, dresser, chair, and a window looking out on the courtyard. In the courtyard, maybe 15 elderly people sat in plastic chairs, most staring off into space. "You're going to love it here," Michael said, hanging my clothes in the closet. "Look at that nice view. A view of old people waiting to die." "Dad, we really should get going," Rebecca said, checking her watch. "But we'll be back Sunday to visit." "You're leaving already?" "Emma has volleyball practice," Michael explained. "Emma was my 14-year-old granddaughter. And Tyler's got his tutoring session. Tyler, my 12-year-old grandson. Always something more important than spending time with me." They stayed maybe 10 more minutes, gave me quick hugs and left. I sat on the bed staring at that suitcase. Didn't unpack it that day, or the next. I figured they'd come get me soon enough. That suitcase stayed packed for a whole year. Michael and Rebecca came every Sunday, always at 2 o'clock, always left by 3:30, scheduled visits. "So, Dad, how was your week?" "Fine. Ate my meals, took walks, sat outside." "That's wonderful. You're looking better already." Lie. I looked like a man who hadn't slept properly in months. Michael always had business to discuss. "Dad, we're going to need the key to your safe deposit box. Some important papers in there." "What papers?" "The lake house deed, some store documents. Nothing major." "Nothing major, just the records of everything I'd worked for my whole life." Rebecca would update me on the grandchildren. "Emma sends her love. She's having a rough time at school right now, so she couldn't make it today." "What about Tyler?" "Oh, he's swamped with homework, but he said to tell you hi." Always an excuse. Emma had been having a rough time for 2 years. Tyler was always swamped. "When are they going to come see me?" "Soon, Dad, once their schedules calm down a bit." Schedules. Like visiting their grandfather was just another chore to fit in. They'd stay an hour and a half tops. Then, "Oh, Dad, we've got to run. Dinner at Michael's in-laws." Tyler's got a game. Rebecca's got an early meeting tomorrow. Always somewhere else they needed to be. I'd sit on the porch watching their car pull away. The silence afterward was worse than being alone all week. It was a Tuesday when I met Grace. She came into my room with her cleaning cart and saw me holding a photo of Eleanor. She was lovely, Mr. Mitchell. Nobody had mentioned Eleanor in months. The kids avoided talking about her. Yes, she was. We were married 40 years. Oh my goodness, what a blessing. She stopped mopping and really looked at the photo. "I lost my husband 6 years ago, heart attack. I know that ache that just won't go away." That ache that won't go away. Someone who understood. "Have you been working here long?" 8 years now. Started after my Robert passed. Needed the work and it's close to home. Grace was 58, had raised 3 kids on her own after that, and had this gentle way about her that reminded me of my own mother. "Your children visit much?" "Every Sunday the house is full of chaos, kids, grandkids, everyone talking at once. It's wonderful chaos, though. Wonderful chaos. I couldn't remember the last time I'd experienced that. On my 70th birthday, Michael and Rebecca showed up with a store-bought cake. "Happy birthday, Dad, 70 years young." Quick rendition of "Happy birthday," slice of cake, shared it with whoever was around. "Sorry we can't stay long, Dad, but we've got that thing," Rebecca said. 45 minutes total. New record for speed. Next day, Grace knocked on my door with a small covered dish. "Mr. Mitchell, I heard yesterday was your birthday. Made you some banana pudding, my grandmother's recipe." She'd made it at home, brought it on the bus, just for me. When I tasted that pudding, felt what it was like to eat something made with love. I started crying right there in front of her. "I'm sorry, Grace. It's been so long since anyone did something like this for me." "Don't you apologize, Mr. Mitchell. Everyone deserves to feel special on their birthday." After that, she started bringing little things. Fresh-baked rolls on Saturdays. Coffee that actually had some strength to it, made in the staff kitchen. An apple from her neighbor's tree. "Grace, you don't need to do this." "I know I don't need to. I want to. Want to." When was the last time someone wanted to do something nice for me? 2 years went by. The suitcase finally got unpacked, but I'd stopped believing they'd take me home. My children's visits got even more spread out. Major holidays, my birthday, dates they marked on their calendar. Grace became the best part of every day. She taught me to knit. Keeps your hands busy, Mr. Mitchell. Gives your mind something to focus on. I taught her chess. Every piece matters, Grace. Sometimes the one you least expect wins the whole game. Grace wasn't perfect, mind you. She had her moods, her worries. She'd come in frustrated when her oldest son was acting up. Get anxious when bills were tight. "Sorry I'm so cranky today, Mr. Mitchell. Danny got himself fired again." Adult kids. We raise them best we can, then just hope they figure it out. That's the truth, but it's hard watching him drift like this. She had real problems. Son who couldn't hold a job, daughter pregnant with number 3 and the father nowhere to be found, sick mother-in-law she was helping support, but somehow she always had time for me. During one of our talks, she said something that really hit me. You know, Mr. Mitchell, sometimes I look at you, so kind, so smart, and I think, if you were my father, wild horses couldn't drag me away from you. Must be hard for them, juggling work and their families. Maybe so. But here's what I think. We make time for what really matters to us, and people who matter to us, and we don't leave them sitting alone. That night, lying in bed, I remembered something Eleanor used to say. Harold, pay attention to who shows up for you when you can't do anything for them. That's who really cares. Grace didn't know about my money, my properties, my investments. She just enjoyed talking with me. Grace started bringing her grandchildren to meet me. Sophia, 8 years old, and Connor, 6. Sweet kids who called me Grandpa Harold. Grandpa Harold, can you teach me to play chess? I sure can, Connor. Want to start right now? Yes. I taught the boy chess, helped Sophia with her math homework, told them stories about growing up during different times. They laughed at my jokes, asked a million questions, hugged me tight when they had to leave. We'll see you next week, Grandpa Harold. I'll be here, sweetheart. And they came back. Every single week. While my own grandchildren hadn't visited in over 2 years, Grace would tell me about her struggles, Danny losing another job, Lisa pregnant again with nowhere to turn, medical bills piling up for her mother-in-law. You know what Danny should try, Grace? Construction work. There's a boom going on around here. You're absolutely right, Mr. Mitchell. I'll mention it to him tonight. Felt good to be useful again, to give advice that someone actually wanted to hear. It was on a Thursday that I made the decision that changed everything. I was sitting on the porch, watching Grace help her grandchildren plant marigolds in the garden. She was showing Sophia how to make holes for the seeds. Connor was watering with a little plastic cup. Simple moment, but full of such love. Across the courtyard, Mr. Henderson sat alone in his wheelchair. His kids hadn't been by in 4 months. Mrs. Wilson in her corner, knitting baby clothes for grandchildren who never came to visit. That's when it hit me. Family isn't about shared blood. It's about who chooses to show up for you. I asked Mrs. Catherine to help me call Mr. Thompson, who'd been my attorney for 20 years. Harold, how are things? Settling in okay at the facility? Thompson, I need to see you. It's important. He came the next afternoon. Grace brought us both coffee, the good kind she made special. Thompson, I want to change my will. His eyebrows went up. Change it how? I want to leave everything to Grace, the house, the lake property, the store, my investment accounts, all of it. Harold, are you certain about this? These are your children we're talking about. A child is someone who takes care of you. She's been more of a child to me than my own flesh and blood. I told him everything. The abandonment, the duty visits, Grace's genuine care. Harold, this is going to cause problems. They'll contest it. Claim you weren't competent to make this decision. Then we do this by the book. Medical evaluation, psychological assessment, whatever it takes. I want it crystal clear that I'm of sound mind and body. Took us 2 weeks to get everything lined up. Dr. Patterson from the facility did a complete physical. A psychologist came in for mental competency testing. Everything documented, everything official. Mr. Harold Mitchell demonstrates full mental and physical capacity to make informed decisions regarding his estate, the psychologist wrote in her report. When I signed those papers, I felt a peace I hadn't experienced in years. Finally did something that felt right. Grace never knew any of this was happening. She kept being herself, caring when I needed it, cranky when her family stressed her out, always making sure I felt like I mattered. Those next few months were the happiest I'd been since Eleanor passed. I had a family again, not the one I was born with, but the one I chose. Grace taught me her mother's cornbread recipe. I showed her how to play bridge. Her grandkids told me about school, asked for help with projects. Grandpa Harold, what's 9 times 6? 54, Connor. Wow, you know everything. Been a long time since anyone thought I knew anything worth knowing. When Danny lost his job again, I suggested, tell him to check the new shopping center going up on Route 9. They'll need electricians, plumbers, all kinds of skilled workers. When Lisa's boyfriend left her high and dry, I was there when Grace cried, "It'll work out, Grace, you're strong people, and whatever you need, I'm here to help." Good to feel like part of something again. Today's a sunny Friday. Been 6 months since I changed the will. Grace is in the kitchen griping about Danny coming home at 2 a.m. Just normal family stuff. I finished writing a letter to my children, explaining why I did what I did. Not out of spite, just the plain truth. Michael and Rebecca, by the time you read this, you'll probably be shocked, but you shouldn't be. For 3 years you visited me like it was an item on your to-do list. You discussed my assets like I was already in the ground. Grace gave me what you couldn't: time, attention, genuine affection. She listened when I needed to talk, comforted me when I was low, brought her grandchildren to know me while you found excuses why mine couldn't come. I'm not angry with you. I'm sad. Sad that you missed out on knowing the father who still had plenty of love left to give. I know you'll fight this. That's your right. But I did everything properly. Doctors, psychologists, witnesses. I wanted no doubt that this decision comes from a man who knows exactly what he's doing. The money goes to someone who truly cared for me. But you lost the real inheritance I had for you. Time together, conversations, memories, love. Missing what we could have had, Dad. Letters here on my desk with a copy of the will. Mr. Thompson will deliver it when my time comes. Don't know when that'll be, but we all go eventually. I'm not scared. I'm at peace. Did what felt right. Grace just brought my afternoon tea. Sits down next to me like she does every day. How are you feeling today, Mr. Mitchell? Good, Grace, really good. And I mean it. For the first time in years, I genuinely feel good. Watching her tell me about Sophia learning to ride a two-wheeler, I think. This is the family I chose, not the one I was given, but the one that chose me back. Let me ask you something. Do you have someone in your life who cares about you without wanting anything in return? Someone who asks about your day and actually listens to the answer? If you do, don't take them for granted. People like that are rare as hen's teeth. And if you're someone's child or parent, remember you're going to be old someday too. How do you want to be treated? Like an obligation? Or like someone worth spending time with? I don't blame my children. They're products of a world that moves too fast, demands too much. But sometimes we forget that time is the most valuable thing we can give another person. Grace gave me her time, made me feel like I was still worth knowing. That's why she's inheriting everything I built. Not revenge, recognition. Life's too short to save love for later. If this story reminded you of someone special, call them today. Don't wait. Now I want to know, have you ever felt invisible to the people you love most? Or are you good about really being there for the people in your life? Real love exists. When it shows up, you better recognize it.